Yeah, they have sent me on my personal chat as well. So I have a whole lot of questions to ask, ma'am. Firstly, I would like to congratulate both the speakers for their talk, Mr. Kumboji and Ms. Sheda. Both of you had a wonderful talk, a wonderful session with our students, and it was really nice listening to you. Uh, our students have a whole lot of questions. One of the students has asked me, uh, what do you mean by a serial entrepreneur? I think it was in the CV of Mr. Kumboji.
Yes. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Yes. Can you please repeat the question?
They want to know what do you mean by a serial entrepreneur?
Okay. Okay. So there are multiple types of entrepreneurs, like accidental entrepreneur, like techpreneurs, like edutechpreneurs, right? So serial entrepreneur is basically because I handle multiple companies. Right now, I'm basically leading four companies. That is why it became a serial entrepreneur, right? So entrepreneur is the one who handles one company. So serial entrepreneur who handles multiple companies.
I think that is very, very clear, sir. Thank you. There's another question from Ms. Janisha. Uh, the student has asked, ma'am, what made you start up with this business and not take up a job?
Okay. Thank you for that question. It is an amazing one for me because I took up a job in the beginning because I wanted a steady income. But when I was going to work, I was to not come back happy. Okay. There is to be something missing. And I then realized that my freedom was not there. And I am a person who wants freedom when I have to work. I want that space when I have to work. But in a school atmosphere, there were lots of rules and regulations and a lot of paperwork, but less of intervention to the children. I had to sometimes become a PT teacher, I had to sometimes become a proxy teacher, I had to sometimes go and just monitor the class. And then I said, this is not what I have studied for, and this is not what the children who have taught me during my internship telling me to do. And that's where I said, I don't think I can work in a 9 to 5 job. I need to do something very different. And it's just 1 year that I started having a lot of health issues because I think I was very sensitive at that point of a time. So I quit my job. I started doing 2, 3 part-time jobs only in therapy centers. So there was Gokul Dham in Goregaon East where they had only a cell for special children. I used to work there in the mornings. From there, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I used to work in another cell. Evenings, I used to go to the third cell. So that's where I kept working for now around 2 years. And in 2003, I actually started my own therapy center and working for another therapy center because that gave me the entire knowledge how to run a business, how to become a head of a therapy center. So yes, I did jobs, but I did in this part and parcels and wherever I got freedom, wherever I got my space to learn. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think the student must have received her answer because this is exactly what we asked them to do, that you gain experience, you find out what exactly you want to do, and then go ahead with it. There's no harm
Absolutely.
in switching over.
Not at
Very
all.
true, ma'am. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Um, Ma'am, one more question for you. How did you manage the finances initially?
Yeah, so the way I said, I earned a lot of money from my my part-time jobs and all, and I really went very slow. So in the beginning, I was the maid, so salary bach gaya. I was the accountant, so salary bach gaya. I was the one who was running the entire show. So I curved onto the salaries in the beginning. I tried to do as much as I could by saving money, and slowly I started building my funds by, okay, now I have got enough fund that I can hire another therapist, but in such a way that the therapist will get in some money. So if I have 5 students who take remedial session, I want those 5 students also to take OT sessions or speech sessions such that we start collecting funds. Okay, the entire process, I started with a 3000 rupee rent in 2003, and today I give more than a lakh rupee rent. Okay, but this is all hard earned money by the organization. No money from the banks, no money from the family business, no money from husbands, no father, nothing. So it is how you started collecting money. I put in therapies. I started taking a bigger space because I had trust. I wanted to take a risk. I knew what I am doing, and slowly, slowly, from one room where I started my work, to a two-story building is what today I have, but at a very, very slow pace. No running around, and that's how I manage my finances.
Okay. That's really commendable and I think very inspiring for all our students. Because they also going to just begin maybe after their graduation, they start thinking what they want to do. So I think this will be a good inspiration model for them.
Yeah, because in previous years we never had this so much of opportunity for women from the banks and all. Now we really have them, but as you are born like that, you want to really collect some money and keep them aside. So that saving also comes from my mother, who used to give me very small, petty pocket money, not like thousands, but some 500 when I used to come to college. So we used to walk half the way to save that 100 rupees. So I think it's coming
Right.
from there.
Very true. So saving is something they have to learn and not just being a spendthrift initially. Maybe slowly, once they have collected their funds enough, then they can think of spending lavishly. Okay, sir, there's another question for you. The girl has asked, you had spoken about the OKR model. Are there some other models which you can talk about briefly?
Yeah, there are multiple models like OKR model, but this is the one which has proven its track records, and even today LinkedIn is using it, Microsoft is using it, even multiple startups from India, even Silicon Valley, they are basically adopting the OKR model. So like how we have this OKR model, similarly when we have a manufacturing setup, there we have this all these Japanese model like Kaizen, like 5S, like OPEX. So similarly, these models are there, but that is for manufacturing basis so that they can improvise their productivity or efficiency by lowering the human efforts and automation. So this is what we have like other models which comes from Japan. Even the Toyota use the same one, Kaizen technique.
Thank you, sir. Uh, there's another question about the free startup community which you mentioned about. They're asking if you can explain it more in depth. What do you mean by the free startup community and what is its role like?
Yeah, sure. So Plan B is basically a hyperlocal community which we have, started some 2 years back, and we have some thousands of members on this. So basically, this free community will facilitate all the community members so that they can receive all the information, updates about the whatever updates are there on startups, maybe some of the uh, interactive sessions with some of the mentors, expert sessions, some of the workshop details, investor pitch deck details. So whatever is related or whatever is there in the world of startup, they can get all these information on their WhatsApp. So I'll just put on one number so they can be a part of this WhatsApp hyperlocal community. They have to just send yes to this particular number through WhatsApp, and they can immediately be a member of this startup community. I'll just put this in the chat so that all the students, they can have information about the same.
Okay, one more question for you, sir. You were mentioning about a lot of government financial support that is there for women entrepreneurs. So, how do they avail of this support which is provided by the government?
Yes. For women entrepreneurs, there is a separate wing under Ministry of Commerce, and they are very keen to facilitate all the fundings, be it for a first generation entrepreneur, be it for some of the women self help groups are also there, be it for women co-founders as well. Okay, so these fundraising channels or fundraising opportunities are there for women so that they can establish their business entity, they can scale up their business entity. So right from even 10 lakhs up to 1 CR, they have different funding opportunities. So they can establish their business entity. They can scale up their business entity. So right from 10 lakhs up to 1 CR, they have different fundings. Even Stand Up India is the scheme where they have the website Startup Mitra, but startupmitra.in is the website through which they can get all the details about some of the subsidized schemes, some of the schemes for women entrepreneurs, everything about fundraising from Government of India. So there they have two different tabs over there on that particular website. One is the schemes under central government. One is schemes under different state governments. So they can get all the details on this website, startupmitra.in or .com.
Startupmitra.in or .com.
Yes.
This girl has sent me a question, but she didn't mention to whom. So I think both the speakers can give their viewpoints. What was your greatest strength when you began the entrepreneurship journey?
Sorry, I missed your question.
What was your greatest strength when you began with your entrepreneurship journey?
Mr. Sachin, will you go ahead?
Ladies first.
Okay, thank you so much. So,
Yeah.
so for me, there were two, three things. One is trust. I completely trusted and believed into what I was supposed to do. And the strength was the students that I met during my internship. They gave me the entire courage that you can do, because I was able to bring in some changes into them. So these were the two, three things, trust, belief, and the entire courage that I got for my children, which built up into my passion. So this was my strength.
Yeah. So for me, it can be like number one is self-awareness, that yes, I actually, figured out what to do, how to do, and when to do. So for any startup, even the recent research from Silicon Valley startup says that the secret for successful startup is not raising funds, is not product, is not innovation, is not team, it is a timing. So at what time you basically come into the market and bring everything whatever you have through your startup. So that I had in mind. So number one is self-awareness, and number two is it cannot be a risk-taking ability. It is, or I must use the word calculated risk, because if see, I had everything planned, like everything, like worst case analysis. Like if I'm failing in first 1 year or 2 years, is say for example I'm putting my 5 lakhs or 6 lakh rupees in any business. So I was pretty clear about what would be the worst case scenario, right? So that I can figure out if these things, or if I whatever I have assumed, if it is not happening, what next, so that what next or plan B was ready for me. So these were the two initial strengths or steps which I had in early days.
So much. Okay. Until now, I've received these questions. Girls, any more questions you all have to ask? You can still maybe come on screen or put on the chat box or raise your hand
Anju,
and unmute yourself.
There's a question that's come into my QA. So I don't know from where is that question coming. Do you want me to read that?
I can see the startup company, own business is good, but when we do job, we get a different experience. Is
I
that
think
same
both
question?
can answer. Yeah. When we start a company or start your own business, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree to what the question is, that yes, you get a lot much experience, you meet many people, but if simultaneously, it is completely upon you, what kind of a person are you? Who's driving you? Are those people and that experience is driving you to become an entrepreneur, or it's your own dream? So for me, it was both. I learned and then I realized I am not for this community, or I think I am not for this particular place where I can work under somebody. But yes, taking a lot of experience of what not to do when I go to my workplace and when I start up my journey is something what I really learned. So what not to do came to me, and that really helped me to become, really enjoy and be a very successful person today, what I am.
I think that was a wonderful session where both the speakers have given their excellent inputs to all our students who can be or maybe would be entrepreneurs, I would say. And we want more and more students to get into the entrepreneur activity. And then we would feel that, yes, this session of ours has been successful to some extent. Even if 10% of the students who are here can get into this activity, it will be a big success to us. Big thank you to Ms. Janisha and Mr. Sachin Kumjin Kumboji, sorry. So thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Dr. Anuradha.
Thanks a lot for patiently answering the questions. Students have ideas now, taking it further, taking it into the incubation stage and, bringing it into reality is another aspect that our students are always looking at, and in a small scale, their ideas are there. And we definitely look forward for our experts to guide us on this particular issue of, taking their ideas forward and share, with their experience and incubating them definitely will help them to reach great heights in this particular aspect. And Mr. Sachin here is a serial entrepreneur, as an incubator, as an accelerator. We have home science specializations where we have food, nutrition, dietetics, textiles, human resource, that is resource management, human development and mass communication. So students who have, specialized in terms of this ideas where we can incubate it for their products or for their services that they would like to promote. It would really be helpful where we can see our students also being empowered in this particular area. Thanks a lot.